Get Smart movie review. So this is a review of the 2008 movie and not the original TV series. Although for what it's worth, I was a huge fan of the original TV series back in my youth. I was too young to see it when it originally aired in the late 60s, but it got rerun at Nick at Night in the 90s, which is where I encountered it. Now, I've not done a formal study of this, but my anecdotal impression is that it had a cult following among people of my generation when it was being rerun on Nick at Night in the 90s, meaning not everybody at school was talking about it, but you could seek out different people who had been watching the reruns and who were big fans of the show. So, let me know what your own experience is, if you remember this. But my own impression is that when it was rerun in Nickelodeon in the 1990s, it acquired a cult following among people of my generation. And I was one of that number. I loved watching this show on the reruns. And for what it's worth, I also managed to see some of the other Get Smart movies. There was The Nude Bomb, which is kind of a strange title, but that was the name of the 1980s movie about Get Smart. Although for some strange reason, I think they only had Maxwell Smart come back, and they didn't have any of the other original actors come back. The movie was rerun on like a afternoon on TNT or TBS back in the 90s, and I saw it, and it was pretty terrible, or at least as so far as I can remember. I mean, it was ages ago that I saw this. There was also a TV movie, Get Smart Again, which came out, I don't remember, late 80s, 90s. I saw it when it was being rerun. That one I really liked, even though it was made for TV. I thought that was really funny and true to the original. And then there was a revival series, which came out in 1995, and which I was really excited about when they started advertising that was going to come out. And then like 2 episodes aired, and then it immediately disappeared. Now, I think via the magic of Wikipedia and everything, I've been able to figure out that there were something like 6 or 8 or 10 episodes made for this new series. But I have never been able to track them down. I don't know where they disappeared to. Anyways, the 2008 movie. Right. The good news is they did a good job with the casting. Steve Carell recreates Maxwell Smart's arrogance mixed with cluelessness perfectly. And Anne Hathaway does a good job with 99. Just like Barbara Feldon, the original actress, she's slightly impatient with Maxwell Smart, but not altogether unfond of him. Bill Murray did a great cameo as Agent 13. Patrick Warburton was perfect as Jaime the Robot. And even though he wasn't portraying a character from the original series, I enjoyed seeing Masi Oka in a small role. Masi Oka, the guy who was famous from Heroes, had a small role in this. And David Koechner at least looks a lot like the original Larrabee, even if he does play the character slightly differently. The problem with this movie, though, is that none of the jokes are all that funny. Well, maybe if we were perfectly honest with ourselves, maybe the original Get Smart wasn't all that funny either. A little silly, maybe, worth a few chuckles, but it was seldom laugh out loud funny. But then when you sit down to watch a movie, you have higher expectations. It's all right. It's a decidedly mediocre movie. But then movies based on old TV shows are notorious for being mediocre. It's hard to take a premise built for a few cheap gags in 22-minute time slot and stretch it out to 90 minutes. I mean, it's all right, but it's nothing special.